here we are again for some more Tribal Wars. This week it is Modern Tribal Wars again, and I'm playing Spirits. This is actually the more or less the same Spirit deck I lost with last week in the Invitational. Okay, basic idea is it's a Talo-Wisp deck. Whenever you cast a Spirit or Arcane spell, you may search your library for an aura card with an enchant creature, reveal it and put it into your hand. So we use that plus all the spirits to search up either aggressive cards like Ethereal Armor, Spirit Mantle to get past blockers, Sage's Reverie is like a super Ethereal Armor, same ability, but you also draw a card for each aura you control that's attached to a creature. And we've got Curse of Chains as a sort of pseudo removal, Prison Terms, same deal, can't attack or block, can't activate any abilities. You can move this one around whenever another creature enters the battlefield, or Mind Control is the sort of top end. In addition to that, there's also Gift of Immortality, which when an enchanted creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control, and return Gift of Immortality attached to that creature. So to go with that, we've got Cameo False Hope, just Infinite Fogs, good to lock the opponent out of the attack step if that's their game plan. Mausoleum Wanderer as a repeatable counter spell against instants and sorceries, or Selfless Spirit for repeated indestructibles. In addition to that, we've got Untitled Captain, just a good solid lord with the Hexproof. Hexproof obviously helps with the aura plan, offset some of the risk there. Supreme Phantom, this is the first time I've played with this card, just a cheaper, very similar to Joy's Call, just a lord but cheaper with less abilities. So I'm just testing these, and I'm running 4 now because I wanted to try them out, and I just trimmed some of the other stuff, the Talo-Wisp, the Silver Spirit and the Rattle Chains down to make room for it. Oh yeah, Rattle Chains. Flash Flying, when it enters the battlefield, target spirit gains hexproof until end of turn. So again, hexproof, good with the aura plan to help offset some of the risk. And you may cast spirit spells as though they had flash. So and then just opt to smooth out the draws, and Path to Exile for obvious reasons. Nothing particularly surprising in the mana base, just blue-white fetch lands, shock lands, some fast lands, and Moorland Haunt, which exile a creature card from your graveyard, create a 1/1 white spirit creature taker with flying. And that is everything. Let's see the games. Okay, for reasons that actually don't involve me simply forgetting to record this time, my live recording of the games this week is broken. Unfortunately though, the in-game recordings aren't broken. They've been fixed since the last time I tried to do this, so I'm just going to comment over the replay. So, okay, round 1 versus Ice Shuffler. I was on the play with a keepable hand, Mausoleum Wanderer into Supreme Phantom and a bit of Destruction. Both colours of mana, seems fine. Sage's Reverie, obviously not a great draw here, with no other auras yet. And yeah, Mausoleum Wanderer just dies to a Fatal Push. At this point I was thinking that this is probably super removal heavy black-red vampires. It's certainly something super removal heavy. Opted into Selfless Spirit, just any creature seemed fine at that point basically. And that dies as well. Buckle up, because you're going to get used to that creature died being my commentary for quite a lot of this. So Rattle Chains has got flash, so leaving it until end of turn. Possibly, thinking about it now, against a deck that's just tons and tons of removal and doesn't have that much pressure, it might have been right not to run out Rattle Chains there and actually just save it to protect, as it turned out, Tell-O-Wisp, but any other creature that I drew to give it hexproof to eat a removal spell. Okay, apparently I just reverie up the Rattle Chains just to cycle it, I guess, and get +1/+1. I mean, I suppose because Tell-O-Wisp doesn't actually do that much unless you actually, without another spirit to trigger it, I guess that's fine. But then, unsurprisingly, the Rattle Chains also just dies. Unfortunately, this time it's to a Gatekeeper from Malakir, so a little bit of value there. Drew a Mind Control, which isn't bad in a super sort of against a deck that's trying to trade 1-for-1, a 2-for-1. It's not bad, although I decided that Gatekeeper of Malakir was a bit too low impact to want to spend it on. Yeah, just tap it down with Cursed Chains. Vampire Nighthawk I think is a bit more mind control worthy. Because it does sort of force a removal spell to be used on it. I should probably say Dark Imposter is exile target creature for 6 mana, but 1 counter on it, it gets all activated abilities of it, so Dice Shuffler is only at 4 mana at this point, so pathing that doesn't seem super necessary quite yet. Feast of Blood takes out the Captain, and then another Feast of Blood takes out the stolen Vampire Nighthawk. And at that point, because Dice Shuffler had five lands, I decided to yeah, because he had 5 lands and was just 1 mana away from where's it gone? Being able to activate Dark Imposter, start exiling my creatures with it. And since if I was going to use Path to Exile or something else, that would give him the six lands. I decided to path it. And then I know on the Rune Sage is at the beginning of your upkeep, each player sacrifices a non-vampire creature. So fortunately I drew another Path to Exile to deal with that. And then I got to play a 1/1. I think Dice Shuffler is, I was going to say out of removal, but possibly just decides not to spend it on a 1/1. But it hits a Guladra's Assassin, which is a level up thing, which turns into a Disfigure on a stick, or a -4 thing. I don't know what that would be. So I'm kind of forced to desphere that, so it's not to have it start killing all my creatures. Draw Captain's not a bad draw here. Just a bit more pressure. Though it does just die. And then a Stormcurt Captain. It's the Vampire Lord, his first strike. And a Nighthawk. I think I choose to path the Nighthawk just to be able to just keep attacking with the flyer. I mean, False Hope's not super amazing here. It's just a 1/1 fog. But I mean, I guess it's another damage at least. And Supreme Phantom dies on sight. Guess Chicken Mausoleum Wanderer, I suppose. So I am technically winning this race at the moment, but obviously it's fairly fragile. And all my relevant creatures keep dying. Still, Triggering Mausoleum Wanderer is not irrelevant. But here comes another strong Kurt Captain. So now the Kami can't attack. And I sat and debated to myself, as it turned out, whether to cast Rattle Chains there, because it represents a faster clock with Mausoleum Wanderer, but it could have also negated a removal spell. Apparently in the end I decided to cast it to get an extra damage in. So this is... yeah, I mean it's hitting down to 4 with the Wanderer now, and then if I hit another creature next turn, that'll be 4 again, which would win. Whereas if I hadn't played it, that'd be down to 5. And that wouldn't win the race. No, I suppose it's Cameo false. I don't know. Maybe it was wrong. Let's see what happens. I don't remember. Okay, so yeah, this is... I decided to sacrifice the Kami to negate this attack because I thought there was a decent chance that Ice Shuffler had a Lightning Bolt in hand. Getting hit down to 1 would lose me the game. Yeah, that's a terminate. Okay, so yeah, Fatal Push, and then I believe what happens is I get hit down to 1 and then Lightning Bolt out of the game. Yep. So that was a fairly grindy one. 21 turns, just removing all my creatures, and I removed a fair amount of Ice Shufflers as well. Right, here we are for game 2. See if this works this time. Okay, so I kept this hand sort of on the basis of the power of Rattler Chains against the all removal or extremely high removal deck. Plus Taoist gives us a bit of card advantage. Assuming it lives. And on that basis I decided not to play Taoist 1 turn 2, it just seemed like the odds of it dying were so high. It would be better to save it until turn 4 where I could play Taoist and then protect it with Rattle Chains. Particularly since this doesn't seem like a deck that's super good at pressuring, which I could afford to wait that amount of time. Didn't quite work out how I wanted, because it was Gatekeeper Malik here. Still run out the Rattle Chains, so just to save to trigger the Taoist and then save it by sacrificing the Rattle Chains. And then I just run out of Peril Lords, I think. Yeah, Jaws Called Captain into Supreme Phantom and just triggering Taoist as much as possible. Grabbing all the auras that target the opponent's creatures, just because even with a Jaws Called Captain, the odds of let me just stop that. On stop. Yeah, even with a Jaws Called Captain, the odds of my creatures dying with a aura attached to it is so high. So yeah, what just happened was that I shuffle played Animal the Rune Sage. Fortunately I had a Path to Exile for, because that would have been annoying. And then just swing with the flyers. And then play Mausoleum Wanderer and hold up Rattle Chains because of this sort of thing. So I get to trigger Talos again, save the Jaws Called Captain. And then just a Vampire Nighthawk. Prison Terminal, Curse of Chains. This second Drogskar Captain definitely want to run out just because that means that all my creatures will have Hexproof, which seems really good against this in this matchup. And then I put Curse of Chains on Vampire Nighthawk. So yeah, I think Slice off this just runs out a couple of creatures, but we've both got a sort of board with some lords, but mine are all flying, which is an advantage. There's a swing for lethal. And there we go. Right, here we are for game 3 of round 1. Kept this somewhat sketchy hand. I mean, just one creature with a pair of auras against such a removal heavy deck is not great, but the same merits the mulliganing against a deck that's just all 1-for-1 trading. It's not great either, so I kept it. Drogskar Captain's a pretty good draw. Shut down the Mausoleum Wanderer, and unsurprisingly, it does not last very long. Down comes a Gifted Aetherborn. Not super threatening as of yet. Just another Mausoleum Wanderer that gets run out. Obviously not blocking there. Mausoleum Wanderer looks like it's surviving. So obviously we're at Drogskar Captain, and the Wanderer does not survive. And neither does the Drogskar Captain. Okay, we're out Supreme Phantom. Don't play the Spirit Mantle because it seems so likely that it's just 2-for-1ing myself when it gets hit by removal. Draw another Supreme Phantom, running out an attack, which gets through. And at this point, I figured the fact that this Supreme Phantom survived a whole turn gave me hope that there was no removal, but it was false hope. Vampire Nighthawk, and now we're in a position where I'm taking 4 each turn, which is a lot more threatening. So Path to Exile the Nighthawk. And Kiko comes down, so just create a Maul and Haunt token to absorb the sacrifice. And the Maul and Haunt plus Supreme Phantom holds off the Gatekeeper of Malakir, and I decide to Path to Exile the Gifted Aetherborn just because I'm at 8. And don't want to keep taking that damage. This turns out to be a pretty big mistake because when the Rune Sage comes down, I Curse of Chains it just to not be taking 4 damage from it each turn. I'm losing a creature every turn, which means we're in a bad position. At this point, the Gatekeeper attacks, and I create a Spirit token to try and trade off with it. Although this doesn't work out very well for me because at this point the Supreme Phantom dies to just a Fatal Push. This was obviously a risk, but I think it was one that was still worth taking from that position just because I'm at 8 life, opponents at 22, I'm not going to race from this position. So I just needed to take a bit of risk. Just because I'm so far behind that if the opponent has basically anything, I'm in a very bad position anyway. So Selfless Spirit, no point running that out, so it just dies the Rune Sage on upkeep. Goldraz Assassin levels up to being a 4/4. Create a Maul and Haunt token to chomp the Assassin. And Opt finds me another creature that's not very good because of the Anno and the Rune Sage. Same attack as basically as last turn, create another token to chomp the Assassin again, but this time
So the token dies. I'm taking 6. I'll concede. I think the mistake in that game was, well, pretty definitely, it was Path to Exiling the Gifted Aetherborn. Obviously, I didn't know the animal on the Ruin Sage was coming down, but I could have just created. I think I could have afforded to take the damage for the Aetherborn for a turn or two, and then just created a couple of Mullen Haunt tokens and traded those for it. I mean, obviously there is some risk of going too far low against a red deck that's demonstrated to have Lightning Bolt and hasn't cast any of them yet, but obviously the Ruin Sage was extremely bad for me. Anyway, I've lost round 1. Right, we're on to round 2 now against Bandit Keith. I'm on the play here with a pretty sketchy hand with a 1-drop into a 4-drop and a 5-drop. And the 4-drop not being very good without anything else to any other auras to come down first. So I'm pretty sure I'll mulligan this. Indeed I do. And then we've got a 1-lander, but with an opt. Not really sure why I did that on my main phase. Just not a big deal, but probably not correct. So obviously keeping the island on top. I draw a 3rd land, which is nice. So I'm sure I just run out of Self the Spirit here. Looks like we're up against something red. Obviously I sacrificed the Soul Spirit in response to send a message. Red, green, aggro. I think it's goblins, yeah. Goblin Power Driver. I think Burning Tree Emissary definitely makes me think of Bushwhacker Goblins as well. So I just run out my creatures. And then we get this attack, which I think I figured out that this absolutely means that the Supreme Phantom is about to die. I don't know why you would do this otherwise. So I just block the Emissary with it, and then yeah, it does die. So I only take 1 damage. And Gift of Immortality gives me the Fog combo, which seems pretty great here. But I believe I don't play it just because it seems like the risk of a Lightning Bolt taking out Kami is so high. So I run out of Draw Squad Captain to try and protect it first. And yep, Lightning Bolt, the Captain does immediately die. Fortunately, things start to go south here because I'm taking. Let's just let Modo do the working out. Yeah, I'm taking 13 damage here, 13 trample, first strike damage here. So I'm forced to sacrifice the Kami just to not die. And then just more bushwhacking comes and I'm just dead. There's just no beating this. Okay, so game 2 against Bandit Keith. Seems like a wildly unkeepable hand. Just 1 land. It's got Path to Exile, which is nice, but then it's got it's got 2 Path to Exiles. I think I might actually think this might be one that I keep just on the strength of 2 Path to Exiles, because against a Bushwhacker deck, the more you can sort of trade your cards for their creatures, the worth the Bushwhackers get. But obviously there is some, yeah, I do keep it. There is some fairly high risk of failure of this hand to just not draw a 2nd land. I don't crack the Slither Strand to Path immediately. A, because I don't want to ramp the opponent, and 2, I just want to have the highest that minor extra chance of drawing a land. I think at this point, okay, Power Driver comes down, which again another reason that Parapath to Results is pretty good. Is just this gets worse. And there's fewer other creatures. I do path the Power Driver, so not the more dangerous creature. Still no more lands. Legion Loyalist. Burning Tree Emissary, this might be a Bushwhacker. Certainly is. So here I'm taking. I'm pretty much forced to path the Foundry Street Denizen. I'm still taking 7 down to 8. We've got a Kami, which buys me at least a turn. I do just spend it. Yeah, and then with no lands and nothing to play, I'm just super dead. So kept a sketchy hand and then got punished for it, which is demonstrates there is some justice in the world, I suppose. Okay, right, we're here on to round 3 against Xiaj 31. Got this hand, which is well, it's got Kami of False Hope, which is not super great on its own. A pair of Talos can a good source of card advantage and can assemble the Kami combo. I don't play the Kami out on turn 1 just because it seems so much better to play turn 2 Talos, turn 3 Talos plus Kami to just get maximum Talos value. I would think. Let me just check. Yeah, Shad Mulligan to 5, and then bottom of the scry. Yeah, it's got nothing out of the opponent for the first 2 turns, which means I'm in a decent position. So just against an opponent who's mulliganed and not done anything yet, I figured that just going for aggressive auras was the best thing to do. Certainly doesn't seem to be any reason to try and assemble a Kami combo at this point. And then this is Muldiah Channelers. Play with the top card, your live revealed as long as it's a creature card, it gets +3/+3. Although if it's a land, it's add 2 mana of any colour. As far as on top, I just Spirit Mantle at the Kami, which sort of precludes using it for a fog, but it seems not very likely that I'm going to want to fog, and if the opponent's got removal, I'd rather them take out the Kami than the Tallowisps. And I think I was supposed to put the Ethereal Armor on there, but I just passed into combat instead of doing it for no good reason. So I think I just Curse Chains the Muldiah instead. That was a Harmonize out of the opponent, revealing an Overrun or a Forest from the Channelers. So yeah, now I'll put the Spirit Mantle on the Kami. Yeah, it might have been a mistake. Might have been better to just put the Ethereal Armor on something else. I mean, putting it on the Kami does mean that Spirit Mantle ensures the damage gets through, but it does maximise the risk I'm putting myself under of a removal spell. But I suppose I am holding up Raffle Chains as well, so yeah, Banishing Light comes down, targets the Kami, and I give it Hexproof. And trigger Talos and get the last 2 auras out of the deck. Oh yeah, but I had not considered that. Spirit Mantle gives protection from creatures, so I couldn't target the my own Kami with the Raffle Chains. I forgot about it during the match, and I forgot about it just then as well. So just draw an opt, keep the Dress Card Caps in. You just run it, assume I'd run it out. So I'm attacking for 7 here, and yeah, the opponent just concedes. Unfortunately, at this point, I was forced to concede the match as I had to go and do some social interaction with my family to help maintain my cover story of being a normal human being. So I had to sort of drop out of the tournament at that point and concede this match. Although there is another round as I did a bonus match with Q Goro, so look forward to that now. Right, here we go. Bonus match against Q Goro on the draw with another 1-lander, but with an opt and a bunch of 2-drops. So I'm pretty sure I do keep this. Yeah, and Kuma I know is playing Shamans. Draw gives them immortality, which is pretty horrible at this point. Just unsurprisingly, I opt to end of turn. See a horrible card, draw another uncastable card, and force discard to hand size. Obviously, ditching the 5-drop. There is Journey to Journey to Eternity. Put on the Scar Tribe Elder. Enchant creature control. When it dies, return it to the battlefield under your control and return Journey to Eternity transformed, and it becomes a land with a 1 mana of any color and 3 black green. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So sacrifice the Tribe Elder to its own ability, gain a land. Tribe Elder comes back. That gives you an extra land, and then sacrifice the Tribe Elder again. Fortunately, I do manage to hit a land. It's not the one I want. This is another colours one. That allows me to at least play a card, which is nice. Kuma decides not to sacrifice Tribe Elder again. I'll start playing Taoists to, well, if nothing else, slightly increase the chance of drawing a land by stripping out the auras out of my deck. Well, the Taoist goes down. Supreme Phantom. Again, I overfill my hand just because I've got tons of stuff I'm not going to be able to cast, and even the very small odds of increasing the chance of drawing a land seem better. I do draw a Moorland Horn. Again, not exactly the land I wanted. Doesn't actually let me cast my 3-drops. But then I pass with intentional casting Rattle Chains, I think. Or a Path to Exile if something particularly dangerous comes down. But it's just Sakura Tribe Elder being sacrificed and brought back. I do get to counter a Fatal Push with Rattle Chains there. And fortunately, to counteract my Mana Sphere, Q Goro is clearly getting pretty heavily flooded, and it's a sort of classic situation with flood versus screw, is that eventually the person getting screwed is able to draw a couple of lands and start actually deploying their cards, whereas the person getting flooded, they have to draw quite a lot to actually to counteract that. So the person who's getting screwed tends to have the advantage. By Hexmage comes down. This is the sacrifice removal, counters from target opponent. Not too scary against my deck. I believe at this point I just flash in a Joe Skull Captain using the Rattle Chains static ability. I do get another land. Yeah, more Sakura Tribe Elder, irrelevant. And I know Kuma's got nothing in hand, so it's fine just blocking the Vampire Hexmage. It's just a excuse to bring it back with the land. Flash in Selfless Spirit. That's the last aura. And then I'm trying to think now. It was 13 points of flying. Don't think there's a way to go up to 21. Could Spirit Mantle, Taoist. That'll be another 4. That puts me to 17 points of damage. And then I just stick some damage onto the rattle chains and attack with a few creatures, a few of the flyers. Yeah, and then Kuma doesn't get anywhere, and that allows me to win. Okay, game 2 versus Q Goro. Again, the one lander with an out, which I keep again because it obviously went so well for me last time. Again, fancies a Molten Horn, which is not quite the land I wanted, but it's better than no land. And then I just pass the turn intending to flashing the raffle chains. Kuma, fortunately, not applying a huge amount of pressure to an Essence Warden in the first 3 turns. Seems, in retrospect, it seems kind of odd for me not to attack with the raffle chains there. Doesn't seem worth trading with the Essence Warden. Yeah, indeed, I don't trade it. So that was probably a mistake. Yeah, again, I mean, I guess I'm just thinking, stuck on 2 lands, I want to be able to preserve my life total as much as possible, but play as defensively as possible. It just definitely seems incorrect in retrospect. Yeah, I really don't know why I'm doing this. So both getting kind of screwed here, and I'm forced to discard to hand size. Wait, what was that? Was that Kima just tapping all of his lands for no reason? Kind of feel like this recording this replay might be broken. This is kind of a whole bunch of bug, illegal target, no source chosen in the game log, which I don't remember that happening during play. Okay, yeah, this recording seems to be this replay seems to be completely broken. I asked Kuma, and his recording is broken the same way. I'm like, it seems so obviously wrong to me to not be attacking with any of these, so I'm not sure if that's what actually happened. Anyway, at this point, the bit where Kuma tapped all his lands and didn't do anything, what actually happened was he cast Minister of Pain, which is the I can't remember what the ability is called, but they sacrifice a creature, and then it gives everything -1, everything the opponent controls -1, -1. So that kills all my creatures, and then I don't think I will ever recover from that, and he kills me. So anyway, okay, here we are for a 3rd game against Q Goro. I mean, obviously, 1 land and an opt is one thing, but no lands is. I'm not really sure willing to risk that on the fly. And then mulligan down to 6 with an acceptable hand. Obviously, Wall and Horn when you're running on 2 lands is not exactly what I want either, but certainly keepable. And I put that on the bottom. I just felt like I wanted more land. Obviously, I knew that I didn't need to fight off an early rush from Kuma's deck. I do find another coloured source, so that's nice. Run out of Talos, want to get that down to start getting as much advantage as possible out of it. But obviously it does run the risk of just dying. Run out of Droidal Captain, which also just dies. Then I get another Talos, which also dies. Which is, I mean, trading off creatures for removal when you've got a Molten Horn is not the worst thing in the world. I do get to stick a couple of creatures. Yeah, I decided not to. I could have path to exile to try and get in damage, but against an opponent who's stuck on land, it seemed like a poor idea at the time. I think I just start creating some tokens. I think at this point I'll run out the Joystick Captain and then I might path to exile here. No, just attack him with the Kami and the token. Yeah, with the extra land. Okay, taking out the Captain. I just sacrifice the Self of Spirit. I think at this. Again, as Tribe Elder. Yeah, I do path to exile at this point because Kuma's obviously hit more mana sources, and I do just want to be able to attack with everything. So I'm doing 11 down to, sorry, 8 down to 5 there. Just got Captain dies. And the Nighthawk comes down. Unfortunately, I've got this path to exile to be able to push through it. Create another token. And then that is 5 in the air. Or 4 in the air. But yeah, there we go.
Alright, here we are back with the deck. Also back with my normal microphone. Just hoping that this will work this time. Things didn't go super well. Obviously I was able to beat Q Goro, which is all that anyone really wants from life, I think. But and I might have been able to beat Shadows 31. Obviously not super clear. But got completely crushed by the Bushwhacker Goblins and had some reasonably close games against the Rakdos Vampires, all removal vampires, but did not come out the victor for that one. Kind of thinking that maybe Kami of False Hope and Gift of Immortality aren't really worth it. Naturally drew this combo against the red Bushwhacker deck and it was not good enough to actually I didn't have enough time to actually put it together, and if it's not good against Bushwhacker I don't know what it is good against. So yeah, not convinced that's good enough anymore. And the other things, the Mausoleum Wanderer and the Selfless Spirit, the other things that Gift of Immortality can potentially go on, I'm not super convinced they're good enough either. That generally speaking, I didn't have a lot of creatures in play for Indestructible to be useful for like a blocking and stuff. And if I did have a lot of creatures, it usually meant that I had a big flying force and I could just win the game anyway. So, and Mausoleum Wanderer. I mean, I guess part of the problem was the decks I was facing. Was that Mausoleum Wanderer was never really more than a 1/1, and Selfless Spirit, everything had already died before it had come down. But still, I don't think they're not super convinced they're good enough anymore. Sage's Reverie, similarly, was pretty uninspiring in this event. Certainly can have draws where you play some Aura Base removal and an Ethereal Armor or a Spirit Mantle or whatever, and draw several cards, and being able to search up a card draw with Talos is nice, but it does have a fairly much higher than 0 chance of just being a 4 mana draw a card and be worse than Ethereal Armor, which I don't think is good enough, so I might cut that as well. Sort of thinking maybe the direction to take the deck in now is Gallister Saint Traft, which is it's not cheap, but it's not exactly cheap by my standards, but it's somewhat affordable. It's just a couple of ticks now, which should obviously go well with a Tallowisp or a thing. Oh, Supreme Phantom, that was the thing, a card I added for this event, which it wasn't super impressive, but that's just because it tends to die every time it came into play. As did all my other creatures, I suppose. But Well, a 2-mana creature that eats a piece of removal is not the worst thing in the world. I think it probably is worth running the whole set of them. Definitely make Mausoleum 1 they're a better. Yeah, anyway, I think that's everything I have to say. Thank you for watching.